Why, hello there, Reginald Kackis here. Thank you so much for stopping by, and today we are going to be talking about the Final Assault event, if you can call it that, for the Vex Offensive. This is supposed to be the send-off, the final thing happening for the current Season 8 or Season of the Undying for Destiny 2, and we're going to be talking about exactly what happened and why most of the community is frankly disappointed. And so, let's get started. Just before we do, if you want something that's not disappointing, check out the ASTRO link down below. Clicking it automatically applies a discount to any ASTRO product. Get some sick headphones, the C40 controller, all of that at a discount, and help the channel out. Definition of a win-win. Alright, so Vex Offensive Final Assault. What exactly happened? Well, we can't really discuss the gravity of the disappointment, honestly, without discussing the lead-up, because the lead-up to this event was kind of insane. Firstly, we have this calendar, and we can see that the final thing, or the latest thing in this season, is Vex Offensive Final Assault. And look at some of the other things sharing a space in this calendar. We have the launch and the start of the Vex Offensive. We have Hero and Legend Nightmare Hunts. We have exotic quests going live. We have the dungeon. We have the first raid challenge. We have the Festival of the Lost. And then we have Vex Offensive. So it's very understandable that judging from this, we have a lot of kind of big things going on this season, that people are going to see this and elevate the idea of Final Assault to the equivalent of some of these other things on here. But the calendar wasn't really the only thing building up hype for this final event, because we had Ikora in the tower building a Vex portal for about a month. For literally a month, we watched this portal become more and more complete every single week, and the speculation, the hype behind what exactly is going on with this portal was kind of insane. Like, are the Vex going to pour out through the portal and invade the tower? We're going to have to defend them? That would be insanely cool. But when this portal was finally completed, and although it doesn't look 100% completed, and I will admit, potentially this portal will be used more in the future. We'll kind of talk about that in a sec. But, I mean, look at this tooltip. The Final Assault begins, it's go time. It says, after weeks of hard work, Ikora and her team have completed construction of a portal that will enable teams of Guardians to kill the Undying Mind in every possible timeline. So, there you go. I mean, literally it says, hey, that portal that Ikora was constructing and everyone was interested in what would happen, this is the finale of it. It's complete. This is what's going on. So all of these different factors really built the hype behind this event. So expectations were high, but it's kind of fair that they were, because those expectations were set by Bungie. You can't have Ikora building this portal in the tower and all these Guardians are watching her do it and then have a finale that's disappointing. If you built the hype, you have to deliver on that hype. So, that's the lead up. The portal is built, the event launches on November 19th, which was yesterday. People go through what changed. Well, in the final encounter of the Vex Offensive, like before then, everything's totally normal, but for the final encounter, the boss is different. And when I say different, it's going to be a Hydra, so there's going to be the rotating shields that are going to block incoming damage. But even the mechanics for this boss fight are identical. You're still killing the Minotaurs, picking up their lasers, and shooting the immunity shield to take it down. The funny part is that it seems that this boss has even less health than the Minotaur it's replacing. It's even easier to kill, and I've never not one-phased this guy. So this final big boss that we've built up, all this hype for, dies extremely easily. But, I mean, that's not the end of the world if there's some substantial rewards. And the rewards for this new boss are this emblem right here. And that's it. There seems to be nothing added to the loot pool in terms of new weapons, armor, gear, nothing like that. And that is really where the disappointment lies. Because the thing is, the Undying Mind is not a new concept. It's actually a strike boss from Destiny 1, as you can see right here. Now, I was actually planning on going on to Destiny 1, playing the Undying Mind Strike, killing this guy, but unfortunately, every time I try to get on, I'm presented with this. So if you guys know how to solve constant taper errors on PS4, let me know for Destiny 1. In any event, people were thinking, oh, well, if the Undying Mind is coming back, could we get a remade Undying Mind Strike? We get a brand new strike introduced into the game. That doesn't have seemed to happen. Also, the Undying Mind in Destiny 1, because strike loot was a part of that game, and every single strike had some unique loot, the Undying Mind was tied to a certain special weapon. It was this Imago Loop hand cannon. This was a big deal in Destiny 1 because the Imago Loop could do a great impression of the absolutely fabled Fatebringer hand cannon. The Fatebringer dropped from the Vault of Glass raid, and it was very hard to acquire for a lot of people, and for those people unable to do that raid and get that weapon, you could get pretty much the same perks on the Imago Loop. As you can see, it can get, this is the Outlaw plus Firefly roll, which was pretty disgusting back in D1. Actually, you can also roll Outlaw plus Explosive Rounds plus Firefly, because Explosive Rounds didn't take up a perk slot back in those days. So the Imago Loop, a lot of people have fond memories of that gun back in D1. It was a powerful weapon. And that would seem to be like the perfect excuse to reintroduce it into Destiny 2. I mean, you're bringing the Undying Mind back into the game, bring the loot specifically tied to that boss back into the game as well. And the funny part is, if all of this remained the same, it's just a new boss, it's the same mechanics, but it's dropping a new gun. It's dropping the Imago Loop, let's say. That is really all it would take for the community to be, for the most part, satisfied. Like, imagine it. There would be 45 videos all popping up, all titled Best Hand Cannon, even if it wasn't the best hand cannon, if you know what I'm saying. But it would be a lot of hype behind this. There would be a new weapon. Everyone would be grinding for it, showing off their god rolls. But there was nothing. But here's the thing. There may be something. Potentially, we haven't seen everything Vex Offensive has to offer. Potentially, next week, something will change, or it'll unlock something else, or there's another event that Bungie hasn't told us about and isn't on the calendar. However, that whole situation brings up kind of another problem. Why don't we know anything more? Our knowledge of what's coming in Destiny 2 ends with Vex Offensive Final Assault. Seriously, we know really officially nothing else after that point. We know there's going to be more seasons, 3 more seasons, but we don't really officially know what they're called per se. We don't know what they contain, and around this time last year, we had this extremely handy-dandy little calendar for not just one season, but a bunch of seasons. Like, Bungie was letting us know what kind of content is coming in Season of the Forge, Season of the Drifter, and Season of Opulence so early. Like, back in that day, Season of Opulence was called Penumbra, but Bungie was very transparent and letting us know exactly what content we were getting from these different seasons. Why has that not happened? Why are we just a couple of weeks out? Bungie actually said in the last weekly update, we are just a couple of weeks out from the switchover to the next season, and we really don't know anything about that next season. And I don't exactly like that lack of transparency compared to this time last year. Now, this time last year, well, not necessarily this time last year, but last year leading into Forsaken, and then the content after that with the annual pass, Bungie was still kind of in trouble. Destiny 2 wasn't the best. Things really turned around with Forsaken, but the onus was on Bungie to prove that they're adding substantial content to the game. However, I don't think that onus has completely gone away, and I think that they kind of should owe it to their fans to provide that same level of transparency as to what content is coming this year like they did before. And this is something that I have noticed, is that when things are bad, Bungie's communication is through the roof. And although the communication is never terrible, like, honestly, Destiny 2 has one of the best relationships between the devs and the community. They do tell us quite a bit. But when things are good, the communication really slows down and we don't really know too much about things happening and coming with the game. And I don't think it should be like that. I think the level of transparency and communication should try to remain constant so that the community is informed. But I think another issue here is allocation of resources, and this is where people start bringing up Eververse, because I know the argument is going to be, wow, you couldn't even add the Imago loop to Final Assault, but you can add all these different cosmetics, you can add all these different emotes for Eververse within the Festival of the Lost, couldn't you, Bungie? And then people are going to be saying, well, like, make 2 less emotes and make the Imago loop. Now, of course, development doesn't work like this. There's different teams of people, all of that stuff. But, like, Bungie had to have somewhat seen this coming in terms of, hey, we launch Final Assault and nothing happens. The strange thing was, like, the lead up, like, Bungie's social media was totally quiet. The lead up to all these other events, like the raid challenge the day previously, it was like, hey, the first raid challenge is launching tomorrow. There was nothing about the Vex Offensive Final Assault launching tomorrow on any of Bungie's social media. So it's almost like they were kind of ashamed of it themselves, which was really weird. But seriously, take one of the weapons out of the moon loot, take the SMG out of the moon essence drop pool, right? And put that SMG into Vex Offensive Final Assault, and now it's dropping today. Just something like that. If you can't add another weapon, if they've filled their limit, take something out and move it to this event, because it seems so obvious that you needed something more. Heck, a couple weeks ago, when they changed Pinnacles to +2s, they made it possible to get the Pluperfect and the machine gun, the 2 seasonal weapons that were pretty hard to get. They made those drop from Vex Offensive. Well, don't do that. Do that today and make those 2 weapons always a guaranteed drop from killing the Undying Mind Boss. Like, you kill the boss, you get one of those 2 guns every single time. They're not new weapons, but they were pretty hard to get, and that would give people a way higher chance to actually farm those weapons and get some good rolls and stuff like that. So it just seems like all of these different things that they could have done differently, and I'm really confused as to why it went down like this. Hopefully, Bungie's got some tricks up their sleeve, and this isn't everything, but I would say, Bungie, yes, we like surprises, but right now we are pretty in the dark, and it's time to become a little bit more transparent as to the content coming this year. You've done it before, there's no excuse for not doing it now. Guys, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed, found this interesting. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at @RickKackis. That's linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.